In the middle of a peaceful little village, there are two houses facing each other. On one side is a small monastery, where the monk prays every day, attends the prayer hour, and seeks holiness through a life of contemplation and dedication. On the other side is the house of a prostitute, where every night resounds with the laughter of guests coming and going. The lives of the two people are like two opposite poles, but few people expect that fate is silently arranging a surprising ending, when life and death reveal their true nature. What will happen when both of them cross the threshold of life and death? The truth behind their lives will make us ponder. Let's listen to the whole story to gain insight. Once upon a time, in a small village, there was a monk who lived in a small monastery facing the house of a prostitute. Every day, the monk practiced a very strict life of prayer. He prayed the rosary from morning until night, immersed in contemplation in the hope of attaining holiness and salvation. He was proud of his consecrated life and his fidelity to his calling, believing that he was on the path to full communion with God. Meanwhile, in the house across the street, the prostitute lived a completely opposite life. Every day, she entertained customers, men who came to satisfy their lust. The girl had no other choice. Because of her difficult family circumstances, she was forced to engage in this profession to earn a living. The monk saw this scene every day, his heart filled with contempt and judgment. He thought that the girl was lowly and sinful, living a fallen life, far from God's grace. He constantly thought negative things about her, saying to himself, "How pitiful for someone like her. She will never be saved, and will surely suffer eternal punishment in hell for her sins." However, the girl had a different opinion about the monk. Every time she saw him praying during the hours of prayer, she felt a deep respect. She wished that she could live a pure life, dedicated to God like him, no longer entangled in the trivial temptations of the world. She always hoped that one day, when she had the opportunity, she would abandon her old life, convert, and become a person who lived a good and useful life. Time passed, and both the monk and the girl passed away. When he stood before the judgment seat, the monk was confident that he would enter the kingdom of heaven, or at least receive a worthy reward, because he had lived his whole life in discipline and prayer. On the contrary, the girl was worried and scared, knowing that her life was full of mistakes and sins. But the unexpected happened. The king of hell said that the monk would have to go to hell, while the girl was pardoned and reborn as a human. Hearing this, the monk was filled with indignation and cried out, "How unfair! I have lived a religious life, praying day and night, keeping the precepts, why do I have to go to hell?" And that girl, who lived a life full of sins, was blessed to be a human. The king of hell calmly replied, "You are called a monk, but your soul is full of judgment, contempt and arrogance. Throughout your religious life, you have constantly thought badly of others, especially this girl. Your prayers and actions are just formalities, unable to change a cold and arrogant heart. On the contrary, that girl, despite her life of mistakes, always has a good heart. She always wants to reform, live a pure life and accumulate virtue. Therefore, she was given a chance to start her life over again, and you must be punished to purify your soul." The monk was stunned, regretting that he had spent his whole life focusing on appearances without paying attention to cultivating compassion and humility. He had created hell in his own soul through negative thoughts and constant judgment. But it was too late. He had to reap the consequences of what he had cultivated in his heart. The story of the monk and the prostitute is a profound illustration of judgment and the value of the soul, reminding us that heaven or hell is not in the external form, but in the heart of each person. The monk, although living in a monastery, reading scriptures, attending mass and praying every day, his soul was filled with harsh judgments and contempt for the woman who was considered sinful. He believed that he lived a holy life, deserving of God's mercy, while she would surely be punished. Eternal punishment. However, It was the cruelty in his heart that separated him from God, even though he appeared to be living a holy life. On the contrary, the prostitute, although living a worldly life, always longed for a pure life and aspired to goodness. Her positive thoughts and desire to change herself helped her gain God's forgiveness, which opened the way for her to come closer to God's love. This emphasizes that no matter how harsh life's circumstances are, keeping a pure and good heart is truly important. The most profound lesson from this story is that we should not judge others based on their appearance. Actions and life circumstances cannot fully reflect the quality of a person's soul. Our mind is like a piece of land. If we sow good seeds, we will reap the sweet fruit of peace and serenity. On the contrary, if we nurture anger, criticism and hatred, we will create our own hell to endure. Modern life is just like this story. We easily judge others based on their appearance, lifestyle or behavior, without understanding that these negative thoughts are hurting ourselves. If we want to live peacefully and happily, we must learn to let go of negative thoughts and nourish our minds with kindness, understanding and compassion. That is the path to true heaven, where everyone can experience peace and liberation. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to give me more motivation and to not miss out on great content.